Today we're looking at instances where governments come up with initiatives that would welcome diasporans. I mean, a typical and a clear example, not far-fetched one, is the what do you call it? The return. What do you call it again? The year of return that was recently organized in 2019 by the government of Ghana. I remember we talked about that in Tamale Hafiz, and you were saying the one who proposed that idea to the president deserves a raise. It was
Absolutely.
me. I think I think I need to go get my check. But yeah, I think that's actually one of those, and I believe there are several other ones that have actually taken place in other African countries. Because there was this article I read about Ludacris.
Hmm.
I think he's married to one lady of a certain country in Africa, but of course she's been in the U.S. And he actually got by virtue of the lady, he got citizenship of that country. So
I
I
don't
think
want to jump the gun on that, but I think it's one conversation we'd have later in the week.
later
I think.
on it. All
I
right, no
think we'll
problem.
get some
So, but then
marriages
that
on that.
these are some of the things, because of that, you just come back home, experience and all of that. But let's look at these initiatives, and I think it's actually very laudable, by governments to put up this stuff. Hafiz.
Yeah, I
Mm,
mean, talking about initiatives
mm,
by African governments to extend a hand of welcome to our, diasporan brothers and
right.
sisters out there.
Mm,
Now, rightly so. I mean, if you run a simple Google search of such initiatives to welcome our African American brothers, the only big thing you would find is Ghana's Year of Return
mm,
initiative. It
mm.
tells you how huge
Huge it
that was.
was.
I
Right.
mean, that was how big it was. And like you rightly mentioned, I remember clearly saying that the person that came up
Yeah.
with that
Deserves
idea
a raise. Yes.
deserves a raise because I mean, talk about out of the box thinking, and that's it. I
it
mean,
was.
yes, it was
It was so
so
unique.
yes and organic maybe. So
Mm.
that was how huge it was. I mean, we are talking about an initiative that raked in some 1.8 billion US dollars
Whoa.
into the economy,
Mm.
and not just that. I mean, Ghana became the fourth most desirable tourist
At
destination.
that time,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes. Moving away from the previous 89th placement. So that was huge
very,
from fourth
very.
to 89th, from 89 to fourth. So that,
Mm.
that was big anyway. But it tells you, I mean, Ghana's Year of Return initiative, I mean, it was one of those initiatives that I think, sold the good parts of roots tourism.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and roots tourism is simply, appealing to a traveler's ancestry.
Right.
So, I mean, we saw the Obamas here
Mm-hmm.
because of that. And speaking of the Obamas, I think Michelle
Michelle
did
traced hers.
yes,
Yeah.
a
Mm-hmm.
genealogy test, and I think she traced her roots back to the Cape Coast Castle, and
Mm.
that was why the Obamas came to
Yeah.
visit and try to, reconnect with that part of their history.
Right.
But then again, if you clearly look at what's happening in the diaspora, or what happens with African American brothers out there, with issues of
Mm-hmm.
racism, issues of police brutality,
Mm.
and it boils down to the fact that it's about uh, being inferior, the feeling of feeling inferior, feeling
Yeah.
like an outsider.
Marginalized, huh?
Yes, feeling like an outsider, constantly having to look over your shoulders and having to beg for a seat at the table.
Exactly.
Yes, and it's something they don't want to keep happening.
Mm.
I mean, I think W.E.B. Du Bois,
Dubois. Mm-hmm.
yes, conceptualized that feeling, and he termed it as double consciousness,
Right.
where is simply a state of awareness of not just who you are,
Mm.
but how others
How
also perceive
see
you.
you.
So you're
Right.
walking around and thinking of not just who you are and where you come from, but
But thinking about
just
what the other party thinks of
thinks
me.
about you. I mean,
Mm.
always feeling that you are not
You're threatened the whole
you are an
time, huh?
outsider,
Mm.
even though you say you are an American, but you always feel like an outsider,
You
always
feel
reaching.
unsafe. You're just
Exactly.
unsafe. Yeah.
Yes, and that was what he talked about. But some way, somehow, when they make the journey or the trip to Africa, they just fit in.
Yeah.
Okay, it
They
feels
get that
like
sense of comfort.
exactly home away from home, if you like.
Yeah.
Yes, you don't have to struggle seeing people that look the same, doing the same things,
Mm.
and it's just a great feeling. And I think it's one of the things that the year of return simply addressed. Okay, one of
Mm.
those feelings that they were craving for, and I think the year of return simply addressed,
Nailed it.
nailed it.
Mm.
And of course, I mean later on, that was in 2019
Right.
August, and I think there was talk of beyond the return in the works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, with all of that. So maybe some would say Ghana was trying to milk it, but
Yeah.
you can understand the need for diasporans to want to connect back home
Absolutely. Mm.
to their roots. Yes, there was talk of even Benin,
Right.
also bringing up what they call the gate of return.
Yeah.
Yes, but that was supposed to be just for a short while. You know, the
Mm.
Ghana's year of return was
Was
for a
huge.
whole
Yeah, whole
year,
year.
but
Mm.
the Benin Gate of Return
Mm.
idea was meant to be something
Mm.
for a short period. I think even there was talk of a door of return in Nigeria, but
How true was that?
no, I think the Diasporan Commission distanced themselves from that, but
Okay.
because it was a private initiative, it wasn't
Ah, it wasn't a
something from the
national thing.
exactly, it wasn't from the
Right.
government of Nigeria,
Mm.
but it was a private initiative.
Okay.
Yes, the Beninese actually tried something like that. They were
Okay.
looking
Was
at
it coming from the nationalistic,
yes, the Beninese were trying
Oh.
to do it on a national level
All
back
right.
in
All right.
2020, but
And
then
the door is too small.
COVID happened.
Yeah, the door is too small. Look how big
And then
Nigeria is. The
yes,
door
and then
there. Will
COVID
not fit
happened.
in now.
Yes, and with Rwanda, I think
Yeah.
recently they've also started laying the groundworks. Yes,
Mm.
they are serious about tourism for Rwanda. I mean, I can only see that. Trust me, in the next 5-10 years, they're
That's
going to be
like the
big.
destination.
Yes, I mean we've seen them try to do it in sports with Arsenal.
Yeah, visit
Yes,
us, visit Rwanda. I think
Rwanda.
the
Yes, yes,
part of the
it's all
jersey
over.
thing.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
and not just that. I mean, they are trying to do something similar.
Right.
Yes, and I think they had some 300 visitors come into their country, and when they went
Okay.
there, they decided to get the feedback. So
Mm.
they are simply laying the groundwork to come up
Right.
with something huge in
Mm.
that regard.
Mm.
So expect something big from Rwanda. They are even targeting the Israeli market as well. So
Wow.
in tourism, they are all over the
They're
place
all
as
over
well.
the place. Amazing. And I think they're actually doing really, really well because what you call this American rapper J. Cole
Okay.
recently had the opportunity. I don't know, he's now a member of the Rwandan Patriots. Talk about their national football team. So I mean, like there are several ways to actually get these people coming down. Like you know what, you can actually be a part of our national football team as well. So amazing move, of course, by African governments in that regard. Let me get on to Epi Fani. I'll come back to you, Hafiz, and then Epi. Epi.
Right.
Yep, yep, yep. What are those? Are you going to talk about what? Which return are you going to talk about? Definitely not the door, please. Not the gates, not the
Mm,
year.
I didn't even know of gates.
Well, now you know.
I don't want the
Yeah,
gates.
yeah.
The gates is too small. Look at
Really.
number of people that are coming. How would they pass through? Sometimes you don't need to create a gate to
Mm.
just
You need a
open,
space,
just
yes?
allow
Just an empty
let
space.
them pass through.
Okay, yeah.
Wait,
Maud, I don't know.
I
She's
think
she's
I
on
think
fire.
the door is stems from we have the door of no return. So I would
Oh.
believe that could come from the door of no return. I mean,
Mm.
people left
The door of no return, that's that little gate
that
when you pass
that you
through to the
to
ship,
the
yes?
ship. I
Yeah.
mean, so they are saying come back home. So I think
Mm.
that is what inspired. I don't
That
know, but
particular,
I would believe
maybe.
that is what inspired the
Right,
door of
right,
return.
right. But brilliant, thinking, as Hafiz
Wait,
made
did they have
mention
a
of.
door of return, like of no return in their place?
Maybe. I mean, these are the
Well,
same British who were colonizing Ghana at the same time
lots of
Nigeria.
people
So
were carried
it could be
I
the
away.
know.
same thing.
I'm just.
It could be. It could be. But yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, what I like to talk about is the fact that I feel like it was a good initiative that we had for the year of return.
Right.
Yes, I mean, we saw a lot of businesses boom. Now,
Mhm.
one thing, too, that I feel it did most importantly for me was the fact that it brought and threw light or significance on things that were made on the continent, in the countries on the continent, and the
Right.
significance behind these things.
Okay.
Things lost the thing that, oh, it's locally made or it's made from Africa or it's from Ghana or something of the sort. But then it had a different attachment, a different meaning to it when you said, oh, this is made in this country or this is made from this way, so this is from here.
Okay.
It was like nothing is done here for doing sake. You
Uh-huh.
understand? If
Uh-huh.
it's an artifact or if it's a traditional symbol or something, it's not just done for design's sake. There's a
Okay.
story, there's a history, there's a reason behind why we do some of the things we do. So
Mm.
a boom business, it actually also encouraged the spirit of we here making the things for ourselves. You found out that a lot of people started investing in the things they had. We have most people going into from shea butter to vegetables to
Mm.
natural remedies, because they realize that the people that you're trying to reach out to and get the things they are using there actually coming here and recommending the things you have here,
Yep.
believing that the things you have here are the best, telling you that this and this and this is good. So then it kind of, I wouldn't say coerced, but it led to people opening up to wanting to see and appreciate what we have here
Right.
and fully attach the value that it deserves. Though I must say, unfortunately, we still haven't got to the place where, let's say, we 100% are doing what is ours and going for what is ours. We still have people who are choosing to trade with outsiders
Yeah.
as opposed to us here.
All right. Thank you, Epi. Let me get to Mommy in here. Her take.
Yeah, I mean, Harvey spoke about some initiatives in certain countries,
Mm.
but I believe even without these initiatives, we
Yeah.
make diasporans feel welcome when
Mm.
when they do come down here.
Mm.
I mean, there are even instances where diasporans are treated even better
Right.
than the people in the country themselves. Because I mean, we call them boggers, bean twos,
Mm.
and
I just got back. Yeah. I just got back. Yeah. Yeah. What's up? My name is Eric. I just got back. You know what I'm saying?
because I mean, you come down here and you're speaking like an American or you're speaking like a British, and everybody goes gaga. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is a bean
Mm.
too. This is a diasporan.
Yeah.
So I believe even without these initiatives in place,
Mm.
we as a people make people from the diaspora feel
We make
actually
them feel at home.
welcome here. I mean, because sometimes these people they go to the marketplaces and you find these market women trying to speak Chi with them.
Yeah. And they also try to speak Chi.
So funny.
Yeah, it is very funny sometimes.
But so we are welcoming people. I mean,
Mm.
since this whole after the unfortunate killing of George Floyd,
Yeah.
we've sat here, we've talked about how they should come home.
Mm.
I mean, we talk and we talk
I mean,
about come home. Even
yeah.
if we do not have spaces for you, we will
Mm.
create spaces in our
I
homes.
think that's one of the advocacies of Marcus Garvey. Just get back home. Let's go back home to the promised land and this and that.
Because
I know, yeah.
because even when you go to the diaspora,
Mm.
you see once a black man sees a black man, you're my brother, you're my sister.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that feeling of welcome
Mm.
is already there. I feel like it's already imbibed.
Mm.
I wouldn't say in everybody, but that feeling of welcoming people
Mm.
is already imbibed in a black man.
Right.
So we in as much as these initiatives are there, they're great. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking to the beyond the return
Mm-hmm.
going and becoming something bigger than the
Yeah.
because it feels like the year of return ended and then we're looking at beyond the return, but we've had talks, but we are yet to see
I think
anything.
COVID just showed up and disrupted things. Didn't really go the way it was planned. But I believe that is still in talks. As soon as
Yes, it
COVID
works. Yeah.
gets wiped out, we'll get back to Beyond the Return and see what happens. Okay, the show was Africa Daily on Africa Global Radio. I am Barry Musa, 2:30 GMT. You can also join us and maybe share something about your country that they've actually put in place by the government or, I'm a very influential stakeholder coming up with an initiative to actually welcome diasporans and make them feel okay. This is the time for you to. This is something that we'll put it in place for you specifically because it makes them feel special. I mean, like Mami said, we are always welcoming them every now and then, but coming up with a certain initiative like this is specifically for you people. Come back home and let's fraternize. Let's get to know each other. Let's get to know your history and where your ancestors came from and all of that. That puts a certain icing on the cake. Let me get back to Hafiz. Hafiz.
Yeah, Barry. Yeah, you made mention of the pandemic, and
Mm,
rightly so. I mean, the tourism sector was the hardest hit.
absolutely.
Yes, during the pandemic. This was something that happened in 2019. So, I
Mm.
mean, you can imagine 2020 was spent indoors. I mean, the
Oh
world
yeah,
was
like
definitely locked
absolutely.
inside. So,
Yeah, yeah,
no one
yeah.
could travel. And, I mean, till dates, we are still
It's
trying
not a
to
free
open
flow
borders
thing,
and
yeah.
everything. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, definitely the tourism industry was the hardest hit. And
Right.
hopefully, as things open up, we would see some little bit of
Changes.
travel here and there.
Yeah.
But I think on a larger scale, the year of return definitely helped in shaping minds. I think I read a piece about this guy that said that before he traveled to Ghana, this was someone that had traveled to Ghana to, take part of the whole, take advantage of the year of return.
Okay.
And after visiting the castles and everything, he
Mm.
said before he had always blamed the white Europeans for the slavery, but then
Okay.
after visiting the castles and seeing and being told about the chain and how the whole thing transpired and some of the actors in the slave trade, he realized that well there were some Africans involved in
Who
the
was
whole thing.
supposed to be
Exactly.
blamed? Who were equally supposed to be
So
blamed?
so
Yeah.
I mean it changed his perspective
Yeah.
about the
Mm.
whole thing,
Mm.
and that was huge. I mean, if you're talking about slave merchants anyway, I remember talking to you about this slave merchant, Ayuba Suleiman Diallo.
Yeah, guy
Yes.
who sells and got sold.
Yes, so he went on one of the trips to sell
Mm.
slaves, only to be to return, and on his way he was also captured.
Y'all feel like you don't own yourself, yes?
That story is very funny, but
I know,
you can
right?
read up on it. Ayuba Suleiman Diallo,
Mm.
and in fact, when they captured him, he almost talked himself out of out of it, because he pleaded with the British to allow him send word to his family that they could pay the ransom.
Okay.
Yes, and I think when they sent the word out, the person didn't return on time, because then when you send message they had to walk.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Mm.
by then he was taken out. So,
Unfortunately, yeah.
yes, so that was it there, and I think is an interesting piece of
Mm.
history that, I mean, when you look at it, I mean, not so many people consider that part of the history, but
Right,
it's something you
right.
can dig further into and do your
Absolutely.
research and
Mm.
uncover some of these interesting bits.
Mm.
But then one other disturbing, phenomenon that occurred from the whole thing was this whole idea of, oh, they are copying something from Ghana or other African countries. Remember when I mentioned door of returning?
Yeah, yeah. They're like, yeah, got
Door
to
of return
start
or
with it,
gate of
and
return, and
yeah,
people are like, "Nah." I
yeah.
mean, yeah. But
It's-
what's
What's wrong with it? That's
with
the
it?
thing. Yeah,
You see,
it's cool to tap into someone else's knowledge. Yeah.
you can actually copy something and make it better.
Mm.
It reminds me of a saying by Oscar Wilde: "Imitation is the what's greatest form of flattery."
Mm.
I mean, I'm not going to add the last bit of the quotation,
Right.
but you get it. So, I mean, when someone copies you, you should be flattered.
It means you've done something worth
So,
worth
so, so
copying.
it's something that you should be proud about. I
Right.
mean, and the fact that accepting something new doesn't mean the demise of the old. It just means you need
Right.
to up your game,
Mm. Mm.
or it just means more alternatives for people.
Yeah.
So the fact that they are moving to Benin or Nigeria doesn't exactly mean you won't have people visiting your country. Of course, it just means you need to be, devise new ways,
Innovative
yeah,
ways.
being
Yes.
more innovative,
Mm.
and attract more people.
Mm.
And also, I think what I want to see, if hopefully then when we return to normalcy, that
Yeah.
is post COVID, that is, we get to see people travel more up north as well. Yes, I think.
Up north,
Yes, it was the
Are you
castles and the forts we sold
con-
out there.
considering
Yes, exactly.
Ghana in this
Yes,
particular
yes,
context.
exactly.
Okay.
Yes, I think it was just that we sold
It's
out
just
them.
about yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think there's so much we can see up there
Absolutely.
as well. And if we encourage and sell that bit as well,
Mm.
I mean, it's something that, because there's a slave market.
Salaga slave.
Yes,
That was what I was just about
yes, slave
mentioning.
market, and all these other interesting places.
I think that's the place where you find the chains and the metal still stuck in the
Yeah,
ground.
Yeah, yeah. And there's the
Crazy,
hanging
man.
stone and everything. So
Yeah, yeah.
very interesting places to visit. So
Mm.
I think yes, we did make use of it, but if we had actually made use of it like we actually wanted to make use
Yeah.
of it, trust me, I mean, it would have generated more revenue than
Right,
we expected.
right.
But then that's the power of root tourism, and
Mm.
hopefully we can tap into it. COVID has disrupted everything.
Absolutely.
COVID has disrupted everything, and
Mm.
we won't even begin to see the economic devastation of this whole thing until we actually sit back and
Yeah, like yeah, take a
count our
while.
losses,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and do some sort
All
of
right, all right. Thank you,
innovation.
Hafiz. Let me take final comments from Epi and Mami so we can wrap it up. Epi.
Barry,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd say that, well, like Hafiz was saying, we need to invest more in these things, but I think we should just go beyond it becoming an annual thing or something that is just celebratory or something we just come and let's celebrate.
And
then
then
they come
it goes away.
and then they go, no, we
Right.
should actually look deeper into it, it should go beyond individuals just establishing contact. But I believe state organizations, even the government, should establish contact with people in the diaspora. We have African what organizations out there, different African unions and groups. I mean,
Yeah,
they stand together in solidarity. So if you could establish a link with them and work towards, if it's internship opportunities,
Okay.
if it's skills, if it's transfer of skills, if it's job, anything, where you could actually have like a passageway. So it's not something that you just come and you go, but then we've like built a bridge through which those here could also relate and those there could also relate, and there could be transfer of knowledge.
Right.
You could actually, people sitting go to a place to go and study some of these things.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I feel we could
true.
expand the scope and go beyond just telling the people to come back home.
Mm.
But then through this, we could actually step into development in a new skill where skills there or knowledge there could be transferred,
Transferred here.
and we could actually implement it.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
You know, these people saying, "Oh, Africa can grow. We have everything we need in Africa."
Mm.
Yes, we've heard you say it so much. What can we do about it? Now,
Right.
if you have the ideas, or you know this and this and this is what you can do,
Mm.
bring it. Talk to the
Right.
people in place of power. I think the government should do that. And then, let's start working towards some of these things, the projects that can help, so that gradually we know where we're headed.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Epifani. I think that's a great one. I mean, the transfer of skills, exchanging stuff like that. Because we normally see these, but it's more of like in the academia where they have these exchange programs and everything. But what if I don't have that capacity? I'm not even in the tertiary institution. I should be able to also benefit from something like this. So I think that's a very brilliant thought by you, Epi. And yeah, hopefully government would inculcate. Maybe it's actually part of the plans and it's in the pipeline. But COVID is here, so let's see what happens post COVID. Let me take Mame's final so we can wrap up and then get some interlude, bounce back for what's on, what's new. Mame,
Hi, Barry.
yeah, this is the reason why you get sprayed with sanitizer. Yes. But let me hear your final take. Epi, get ready for the sanitizer. Yes.
Okay, no comments. Okay, so my final Hafiz and Epi have spoken a lot about how we can do more things, how we should stop, we can make it
A
a
continuous
continuous
thing.
thing instead of just doing
And
it one time.
something that's beneficiary to people, you know?
But I would want to talk about tourism as a whole. I mean,
Okay.
tourism is a is something that greatly benefits the continent.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just like to say that instead of us gathering money and then traveling to the Dubais, traveling to the Maldives, planning on going to the Santorinis and all of that, there are beautiful places on the continent
That you
that
can
we can
visit, yeah.
travel to. Because this money that you're going to spend on another continent
Okay.
is money that can be spent on this continent and can be used.
Right, right.
So all they have to do is just search. I mean, there's so many places
Just go to Africa
on
Global
the
Radio.
continent that equal these places that I
Yeah.
have mentioned.
But sometimes
I mean,
one thing, not to cut you short, one thing I have to mention, thing yesterday about how it's even more difficult sometimes to travel. I think that should actually be looked at, to travel within the continent than going
you
abroad.
see, yesterday I remember saying we're hoping these are some of the things that AFCFTA would fix.
What address? Yeah.
Where it would be easier to travel to other African countries
Okay.
than it being easier to travel to the West or to the Europes or something like that.
Right.
But back to what I was saying. I mean, I'm saying there's so many amazing places
Right.
that we can see on the continent.
Oh, yeah.
And we know tourism generates a lot of revenue. So how about we improve on the ones that we have,
Right.
and then make it attractive, make it so that people from the continent can travel to other parts of the continent as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And you can go back to being troublesome. The show was Africa Daily on Africa Global Radio. I am Barry Musa. Thank you for your contributions, my colleague, Epi Mami. And Hafiz, and maybe you can also share your thoughts with us as well on something great that your government has done to welcome diasporans. Maybe something that they are planning to do post-COVID. Let's hear them. Africa Daily Show on Africa Global Radio.